Good morning. We hope you are well, and thank you everybody for all your interaction with the show on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on text, on WhatsApp. It is phenomenal. As I say, it's you, the listener, that makes this show tick. And I got a text from somebody the other day about petrol prices and diesel prices, and we're following that up this morning. Also want to say a special hello to all the residents of the Mountfield estate in Tramore. We were contacted by somebody within the estate, Niamh there, a few weeks ago. We made some calls, we followed it up, we pursued it. Fair play to the council, particular person in the council who also had a requisition order in with Open Air before. That was followed up as well. And fair play to Air. I know a lot of people criticise them, but it looks like the broadband fibre optic system is being linked up. 6 of the 7 systems have been linked up already, and more today, hopefully tomorrow, and that will be the residents of the Mountfield estate linked up with fibre optic broadband. And thank you everybody for your comments on that. And also, it's funny when you do something good and you try to help people, other people then say, what about us? What about us? So we have had contact with different people in different parts of the county about that as well. We're going to try and pursue that and see how it goes. Are you the owner of a petrol pump system in Waterford or Wexford or South Kilkenny? Please text us 083 333 975 if you want to come on, because we're looking at the different prices of diesel, petrol, unleaded petrol, for example, 126 in some places, 123 in some places. In Dungarvan we have 128 or 129. In Kinsale Beg, the apple green there is only 121. So in other places diesel is down below €1. We're going to be talking to some people about this and what it really means for forecourts, and do you really care, I suppose? Does it actually bother you? We're also going to hear from children, 8 weeks off school. We're going to be talking to some children about what it means to them. Liam Cahill is going to talk to us, Waterford senior hurling manager, on the possibility of no championship this year. There will be no intercounty championship until October at least. So what's going to happen there? We're also going to be going to Italy to talk to Lavinia, and we're going to be talking about Maternal Mental Health Week and how it affects, how the situation now is affecting people. Firstly, we're going to talk about the Soldiers of Destiny. You would have heard, obviously, the big debates that are going on about forming the new government. Now, Seamus O'Neill is the former Waterford constituency organiser. He's current Uachtaráin Comhairle Dáil Counter Fort Lariga, which effectively means is the current one of the presidents of the Waterford branch of Fianna Fáil. He contends that there's growing unease within the rank and file of Fianna Fáil about the prospect of entering government with Fine Gael and the Greens. And he hasn't spoken publicly about this before. He's written in a letter to the Irish Times and also had a front page piece on the Munster Express this week. So I went over to his house in Tramore yesterday afternoon, and again, maintaining the social distancing of nearly 2.5 metres on an extended microphone stick, I spoke with Seamus. And Seamus would have a lot of sway and a lot of understanding about Fianna Fáil in the constituency. There would be a lot of Fianna Fáil people may disagree vehemently with what he says. And we're going to be talking to some Fianna Fáil activists and councillors in a little while. This is a really important discussion because it, I suppose, goes to the heart of the current issues regarding Fianna Fáil, where they're going, and also possibly the formation of the government. So my understanding is Seamus will be give a good barometer of the opposition within the party of what is Micheál Martin looking for any deal. The deal obviously hasn't been signed. We've just heard about people are going to be going into talks later on today. So here's the first bit of my interview with Seamus O'Neill. So I'm here in the sitting room, again, socially distancing being observed with Seamus. Good afternoon, Seamus.
Good afternoon, Damien.
How are you?
Tommy, Onawa.
Onawa or Fod. You've been going through some medical treatments and I appreciate you seeing us today. You're keeping well. We're here to talk about an article on the front page of the Munster Express this week, and a matter which is concerning not just Fianna Fáil people, but people of any political persuasion. How are the Soldiers of Destiny going to deal with not only joining up with the arch enemy, but also dealing with the Greens? Let's talk first about, tell me a little bit about yourself and about your history within the party locally.
I will, Damien. First of all, it's not easy for me to do what I have done, because when Micheál Martin became leader of the party in 2011, I was then, subsequent to that, I became the constituency organiser. So I had to work very closely with them, which I did. So I would like to say that he is a good friend of mine. And sometimes it's hard to be crude to a friend. But since then, I think the party under his leadership has gone into decline, and this is not something I'm saying publicly. I've had discussions with Micheál himself about that, and I had actually retired, and you rightly say I have undergone 44 sessions of radiotherapy, and I'm still not finished. But I was contacted by councillors, a couple of former TDs, supporters and others. And I suppose the contact came about because I was a constituency organiser. I know every inch of this constituency, from Kinsale Beg to Dunmore East, from Ballymacarbery.
And you know how people vote?
I do, and I have canvassed this constituency on every election, maybe with the exception of one or two. So that's the basis on which I was contacted. I was a little bit reluctant at first, as I said, because of the friendship with Micheál. But, I was born into Fianna Fáil, reared in Fianna Fáil. Up to the day they died, my parents were strong Fianna Fáil.
From where originally?
I come from Motul, near Clonea Power, in the heart of the Comras. And in fact, Damien, I say the Comra electoral area is the home of Fianna Fáil. Now, other people might dispute that, but very strong, always strong. So look at, on that basis, and we put up with the supply and confidence. We didn't like it, and I didn't like it, and neither did a lot of the councillors, and we put up with it because he told us it was in the national interest because of Brexit, and on that reason, we tolerated it. We didn't like it. And I said then, and many others said then, that it would be damaging to the party. And of course, that has ended up being damaging.
Can I ask you, what is your view then, quite specifically, on going into coalition with Fine Gael and the Greens?
Yeah. I am totally opposed to it, I am totally opposed to coalitions on the basis that they all end in tears. Every one we've been in with, not saying it's the other party's fault, And what I would like to see is I would like Fianna Fáil to make a fresh start, rebuild the party from scratch. Because, Micheál was on the prime time last night, and he stated that the membership were never better informed. That's not quite true, Damien. They have tried to prevent the members from having a vote, and they're using the COVID-19 as an excuse. Now that's.
How have they tried to prevent members?
Well, they have tried because they've already... I know that there was discussion at the National Executive, and they tried to get the National Executive to say that they would have a final say, the National Executive, even if the members voted for or against. The National Executive could then turn around and overrule us, And even that I don't like. But that's the rules as they now stand.
And can you see or understand why that wing of the party, the Micheál Martin wing, if you want to call it, feel that this is the only way to go? That the idea of becoming the main party or going back into government, coalitions will always be there. They might accuse you and your colleagues of living in the past.
Yeah, that's true. But let's deal with the wing of the party. And this is part of Micheál Martin's problem. It's that wing that he surrounded himself with. They haven't got a brain in their head now. And I say that and I mean it. They have made disastrous decisions in previous elections. I won't go into all that now with you, but another time, if you wish, disastrous decisions.
Give me one or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can tell you that in the European elections, Again, as constituency organiser, I was consulted by headquarters. We had a very lovely young candidate called Adrian O'Higgins, a young barrister, just the type of candidate we need to take us into the future. And I was asked to escort them around the constituency, introduce them, and which I did. And then suddenly there was a little problem arose over a wind farm up in Knockanore or Cashmore or someplace, and Mr. Hartley came on the scene. And at the 11th hour, they ditched young Higgins, and they put forward Kieran Hartley. Now look, I know Kieran is a decent man, but he wasn't ready. He got a very respectable vote in the end, but changing horses as you're coming up the last furlong, that's not the way to do it. That's one example.
Do you like Fine Gael?
I have good friends in Fine Gael, In fact, I complimented young John Cummins because he's young, he's articulate, and I was delighted he got the senator's job. It's not a personal thing, I mean, look, if you have a problem about Fianna Fáil going into coalition or anything like that, all you have to do is put your hand on your heart and say, why were they formed in the first place? How were they formed? Why were they formed? And why? And look at the contribution they have made, It's easy to come up with the answer then, They have been good for this country. There's been blips, and no one can deny that. But on balance, we've had some wonderful men, We've had Lamass, and in fact, every one of them, Damien, played their part as a Taoiseach.
Brian Cowan playing his part, ruining the country.
Now look at now, I can't get away with that one. Brian Cowan is a lovely man, he was unlucky. I would say he was unlucky. I mean, we all heard of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It started in America, and I mean, there was a world recession. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, there was one famous interview that he'll never be left forgotten, and he'll always remember for that. But on balance, he was a very brilliant man and never really got the opportunity to express how good he was, And he's not well, by the way, now. And if I could take up this opportunity to wish him well now,
And we're going to have a little bit more in there, Seamus, in a second, because I want people to keep texting in, and the texts are flooding in already, both on the diesel prices, and the calls are coming into 051 846 123. Cyril is a driver this morning coming through Carrick-on-Suir. The petrol price at Apple Green, 118.19, the cheapest he'd seen, and the same in Mooncoin. He got back to Waterford, and some of the petrol prices, 124 and 124 again. Anne says Jones Oil next to Dunphy's on the Cork Road, diesel is selling for 109. A caller rang to say, what about the mindless vandalism at the Bull Post in Ballybricken? Now, some Fianna Fáil members have texted in. Good morning, Damien. Members of Fianna Fáil have a vote on this. Seamus is conveniently forgetting that. And we're going to be talking about Seamus and about the vote on in a second. Another person saying, the term in the national interest has been bandied about by the new Fine Gael as a cop-out for doing what they want. There's absolutely no difference between Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, says another texter. Another person, Pat, says, around 80% of Fianna Fáil members in Waterford are backing Micheál Martin. We know the country needs a strong, stable government. It's nice to hear from Jim, but he's completely out of touch. Ooh, keep your texts and comments coming in, 083 3333 975. Now, this is getting people very irate. What about Brian Cowan? What about Bertie Ahern? What about Charlie Haughey, says Claire. Other people saying that, what are Fianna Fáil saying about this? Well, John O'Leary is going to be joining us in a minute. John O'Leary is chairperson of the Fianna Fáil party in Waterford, and we're also going to have Adam Wise, youngest elected rep in the county for Fianna Fáil. Firstly, we're going to play a little bit more of what Seamus O'Neill had to say. Some people said Seamus is only one of 11 honorary presidents of Fianna Fáil, and he doesn't represent the views of the party members. We're going to discuss that in a minute. Here's a little bit more of what Seamus, or Jim as some people call him, has had to say. Let me ask you, Seamus, please, what other options is there for Fianna Fáil at present? You'll be perpetually a party in opposition unless you go into coalition, and the way the mathematics is working out at the minute, there's no other option, Micheál Martin's wing would say, rather than we have to go into coalition with Fine Gael and the Greens.
Yeah, no, we don't have to go into coalition with Fine Gael or the Greens.
What are you suggesting there?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm suggesting, right? As I'm saying, let them off. That's what I'm suggesting. Let them off. You know, whatever government comes in, Dermot, Damien, whatever government comes in, you know, it's going to be horrendous for them because of the COVID crisis, you know. But Fianna Fáil should not be using that as an excuse, you know. They're betraying the party by using the COVID crisis to go into government. I prefer a national government, you know. And, you know, Damien, it may very well come to that because, firstly, I cannot see the Greens getting their members to agree. The deputy leader of the Greens have already voted. Eamon Ryan has only one. He has only one on the majority in his parliamentary party. That smells of trouble, you know.
Let's say they do get the go-ahead.
Yeah.
Let's say they do get their 2/3.
Yes.
How important will it be? How important will it be for Fianna Fáil members to look at whatever deal is on the table and to judge it accordingly? Like some people would say, Fianna Fáil has always been a very pragmatic party.
Even if they do, and I don't think they do, right? I don't think they will. We then have to, I wasn't quite finished, we then have to move on to Fianna Fáil. It is my belief, and I may be wrong, but it's my belief that Fianna Fáil won't get it through.
Fine Gael?
Yes, no, that we won't get it past our members, you know. And again, the Micheál's wing, is, for what you call them, you know, they're doing their best. There are videos coming out every day from Dara Calleary and Thomas Byrne, and you know, and telling us this is the right thing to do, etc., etc. You know, they forget that an awful lot of the older people don't even have the smartphones, or they don't even have computers. You know, and they feel then that because they're able to give these video messages out, that we're all converted. We are not. I can tell you with my hand on my heart, Stephen, that I have 100 people who are willing and ready to sign if we don't get the vote, you know. Now, they're 100 members. They're not just
sign
ordinary. Sign demanding that we get the vote. If now, he said last night, on the telly, he said that they will be getting the vote. But it had to be dragged out of them, you know. And the only reason it's been dragged out of him, it's not just Seamus O'Neill. We had the Donegal councillors yesterday, you know, come out and wrote to him. We had I know for the 4 county councillors in Cork have demanded it. You know, they're pretending that people are not objecting to them, you know. They're pretending, but that's not true. People all over this country right now, as you and I are speaking, are objecting very, very strongly to Fianna Fáil going into coalition.
Is there a fear that you, to coin the phrase of another Fianna Fáil legend, are threatening to split the party?
Yeah. Look at Damien, a good row never done the party any harm. You know, in fact, Fianna Fáil were at its best in this constituency, and we had our two seats when there was a decent argument. I can remember the days above in Dungarvan when fellas ended up in fireplaces, you know, and it didn't do a bit of harm, you know. It's all too goody now, and it's all whispering campaigns, and they're all out there. They all want to criticise them, but they haven't the Lee Road to come forward and say it. And we need a bit of that. We need to get back a little bit of that.
On a serious note, you can't have another general election now. So would it not be in the national interest for Fianna Fáil to go into power? And this is Micheál Martin's only chance to become Taoiseach. Surely you want to see a Fianna Fáil leader as Taoiseach.
Yeah, well, this is where it's all going wrong. Micheál is obsessed with becoming Taoiseach. And I think I said in my press statement that he mustn't allow his own ambitions to under any circumstances to become Taoiseach under any circumstances at the neglect of the party members. And I personally don't like, and I don't think the members would like, this idea of a part-time Taoiseach. If we go down that road, Damien, you know, I mean, my God, where is the party going that we're now prepared to settle for 2 years? And who knows if they do get together, Ryan might get a shot of it, so he might only get a year and a half at it. You know, that's not the way Fianna Fáil do business, or should be doing business. You know, and then you're setting a precedent for evermore amen. You know, we need to get back to basics, rebuild the party, and it's very interesting that Ogre Fianna Fáil, not old fellas like me, Ogre Fianna Fáil have come out strongly against this. And it's even more interesting that the young Greens have come out against it. So it's not old guys like me and my friends that are against it. The youth are against it.
Do you think there will be some Fianna Fáil members shifting in their graves at what's happening?
Well, I can tell you where I come from, and I can tell you, Damien, when the 2011 election was over, I sat down here on the Sunday morning and I cried. I don't mind admitting that. I actually cried. And I got into my car and I drove up to Kilrothenty. And I visited the Republican plot up in Kilrothenty. And then I went home to Motel, you know, and I visited the graveyard there. And we can't go into all the stories, you know. And I apologise. I apologise to them that, you know, we would rebuild. And in fairness to Martin and a few more of us, you know, we definitely, at that time we had no seats in this constituency. A proud constituency that always had two. And I'm proud that we rebuilt it. And I'm pleased to be able to say that under my watch, and with the help of Micheál, we got extra councillors, we got her seat back with Mary, and we were kind of getting on the right path. But then it all started to go badly wrong.
Would you go into government with Sinn Féin?
No. Sooner or later, how long more are Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael going to keep pushing them away? That cannot continue, Damien. And the more we push them away, the stronger they are getting. And God knows all we need to do is look at our own constituency. And I don't even know David Cullinane. I'm not a Sinn Féin supporter and I haven't voted Sinn Féin. But you saw he got 20,000 votes. We cannot stop Sinn Féin. And in my opinion, he made a bad mistake by not speaking to him. I think it was disrespectful to Sinn Féin, first of all. And I also think it was disrespectful to the people who voted Sinn Féin. And there were 500,000 of them. And the other thing which is hypocritical is we're all for them in the north of Ireland. You know, in fact, a distant relation of mine is now in charge of Northern Ireland, Michelle O'Neill. You know, very distant, but she is. And we're very happy to have her up there. And we mustn't forget the Good Friday. You know, they participated in the Good Friday Agreement. The peace process is operation successfully. Okay, there's an occasional breakaway group or whatever, you know. But we're very happy to accept Sinn Féin as part of Northern Ireland, and we don't want them in government. But the net result of pushing them away all the time is they've come back stronger, and we'll have a Sinn Féin government if they don't cop themselves on.
Finally, a message to Micheál Martin, directly to Micheál Martin.
Well, first of all, a direct message to Micheál is he's had a good run. He's a decent man. He's had a good run. But I honestly feel it's in the best interest of the party if he stepped aside. Let's start to rebuild the party again, especially when you have the young people looking for. When you have young Ogre, you know, I'm probably too old now, but I would still do my very, very best and help, and I'm sure an awful lot of other people would. And I think the vast majority of people would prefer to start fresh, rebuild, and start again.
Seamus, go Ramila Mahagut.
Ramila Mahagut, Slán.
There you go. What do you think about that? If you're a Fianna Fáil member or not, text us in, please. 083 333 975. John O'Leary, chairperson of the Fianna Fáil party in Waterford. Good morning.
Morning, Damien.
Adam Wise, councillor in Waterford, Fianna Fáil. Good morning.
Morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm good. Texts in, delighted to hear Seamus on the show. He's absolutely correct and many grassroots member shares his view. Another person, I'm an officer on the Waterford CDC. Jim O'Neill never asked me my opinion, nor is he in a position to speak for me, and I totally disagree with what he's saying. He's out of touch. John O'Leary, what's your reaction?
Well, first and foremost, Damien, could I just say Jim has been a great server of the party down through the years and is an honorary member. And look, what I have to say is Jim's letter which was in the Irish Times last week, and indeed out to the Munster Express and on the Dungannon Observer this week, is not reflecting the views of the Fianna Fáil membership in Waterford. How
do you know, John? You haven't had a vote yet.
Well, we haven't had a vote, but we have, through the good office of Mary Butler, we've written to every member in Waterford in relation to the programme that we are putting together with Fine Gael for other parties to get involved or to show what the coalition may look, and to invite other parties in. There was absolutely no response or no rejection to date of that letter sent out by Mary Butler on behalf of the party here in Waterford. So, to have headlines in local papers such as that the party is asking Micheál Martin to resign at this stage, or there's a revolt within the party in Waterford, is not accurate. It is not true. And in fairness to Jim, and as I said, he gave a huge amount of service to the Fianna Fáil party.
So you're saying he's a man that lives in the past? Is that what you're saying? He's completely out of touch?
I'm saying he's taken on a role and a position which he's not in a kind of position to do. We do have 12 honorary members of the Fianna Fáil party, but they do not speak. They're not members of the Comhairle Dáil Executive Committee, which makes the decisions, which speaks on behalf of the party, and which engages with the party and reflects the views of the party, both in Waterford and indeed nationally.
OK, well, he mentioned Ogre, he mentioned Donegal councillors. You're a councillor, John O'Leary, and so is Adam Wise. Adam, what's your reaction to what Jim O'Neill had to say?
Yeah, look, first of all, it's because I haven't probably spoke to Jim in about 3 or 4 years. I know much the best. I read the letter. I've spoken to a few members in my own areas in Ballygunner or across Waterford. There's things I would agree with Jim in terms of I would have come out as well and said that I thought that we should have sat down with Sinn Féin, and that I thought we kind of had to respect a certain mandate that they got. I would have liked to see Micheál Martin sit down and talk to pretty much every party. I would have said that directly to Micheál Martin probably 2 weeks ago when he, in fairness to him, and Jim talks about his leadership. I'm pretty sure that he sat down and rang every single councillor that we have elected across the country. But I'd also agree with John O'Leary that we have honorary members, but there are people elected by the members of the party to represent these views back to the top table, and I don't know if Jim is in the best position to do that.
OK, I'm going to accuse you, Adam Wise, of sitting on the fence on this. Can you answer the question, please? Do you agree with Jim or Seamus O'Neill that this will be a wrong move for Fianna Fáil, or do you think it is the right thing to do to go into government with Fine Gael and the Greens?
No, I'm not sitting on the fence, David. I think we have made the best effort to get into government. I think that we need a government. If the only government that's possible at the moment is Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and the Green Party and possibly some other independents, then I think we should do that. And I think we have a right and a mandate to do that, given by the numbers that ourselves, Green Party and Fine Gael have got elected. And Sinn Féin will say that they have a right to go into government as well, but they have also said that they didn't want to see Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael in government for the next 5 years.
OK,
they haven't made as much of an effort.
Very good answer. So basically you're saying that Jim O'Neill is wrong on this and that you should go in and that Micheál Martin shouldn't resign. Can I ask John O'Leary, I'll come back to you in a second, Adam, can I ask John O'Leary, do you think it's damaging for the party that he could burst the party, split the party, this kind of analysis at this stage, at very delicate stage, and in the national interest and all that? Like, a lot of people texting in about this saying he's right, a lot of other people saying he's wrong. From an internal Fianna Fáil perspective, he says he's got 100 people waiting in the sidelines. Is there going to be a revolt within the party, John O'Leary?
Well, if Jim would be correct in saying that is not the information we have. That's not the information that we have. But for me, there's 2 points here. Look, first and foremost, Damien, we are left, the electorate spoke at the general election. We were left in a position where we got the most seats. There's an onus on Fianna Fáil. There's an onus in the moment we're faced now with a pandemic of something we've never seen the like before. There's an onus on the bigger parties to form a government. It's not what Fianna Fáil would like, it's not what Fianna Fáil would want, but it's something that has to be done. And could I say that, just on reflection what Jim has said, we here in Waterford, the Waterford Colladall Council was very fast out of the blocks. And through the office of Mary Butler, I put a question to the parliamentary party in Dublin, which Mary Butler done the business for, and asked that there would be a vote on the final document in relation to a coalition government. And Micheál Martin and Sean Dorgan, General Secretary of the party, has responded, and we have secured that in the final analysis, in the final documentation, in the proposal for a new government, that every member of Fianna Fáil, not alone in the constituency of Waterford, but right throughout the country, will have a vote on whether they go in or whether they stay out.
Adam Wise, we've got a lot of text coming in. It stands against everything Fianna Fáil stand for. It goes against everything, says this texter. To go into coalition with the Blue Shirts, my grandfather, a lifelong Fianna Fáil party member, would turn in his grave. Some Sinn Féin people ringing in and texting in to say every Republican in Fianna Fáil is a Sinn Féin person trying to get out. Councillor Pat Fitz has also texted in to say Jim is an honourable, decent man, a straight talking man. So Sinn Féin must be delighted that you're having this row, Adam Wise.
Yeah, look, we if you cut the games, Damon, from everyone, and then you sit back and look at it, this is a dream situation for Sinn Féin. I think anyone that understands politics or has an interest in politics would look at this and say, you know what, brilliant, let all them go in together, we'll cause an election in a number of months, and Sinn Féin will do what they should have done last time and ran more seats. At the same time, I think Fine Gael's biggest nightmare is this goes through at a Fianna Fáil Ardèche. I don't think they want to be going into government on the figures that they have as well. If you look at the way that they performed and the way that they're performing in the polls ever since the COVID-19 pandemic, and I suppose the plaudits that they're getting from a lot of people, they probably want another election as well, and they could probably come back with more seats. So, like I said, it's all politics and it's all games at the moment, really. I think what Jim has said, or Seamus has said, is that he'd rather see us sit back and rebuild the party. I said before, I don't think that's why you get involved in politics. I don't think you get involved to try and, hold your ground as a big party or maintain some historical fallacy that we're number one and the biggest and the best. I think you get involved because you want to play a role in government. And I know that the councils that I work with every day, and Mary Butler, elected as a TD, are involved in government because they want to play a role in making Waterford a better place. So the only way you can really do that is from being at the table. So
you're going to get into bed with people that you would have campaigned and been very vociferous against in the past. For example, John O'Leary, a Fianna Fáil member, has texted to say, we campaigned to get Fine Gael out of government. Will you apologise to the voters for going back on your word?
Well, what we've done, we campaigned to get an overall majority. That's what we done in Fianna Fáil. That didn't happen. The electorate thought otherwise and saw it otherwise, but they have left us and have left Fianna Fáil with the legacy that they have left us. Now we have to manage it best. I don't want to reiterate and be going over old ground, but we are in a dire straits at the moment. We're in a very serious situation. There's an onus on elected parliamentarians.
And why didn't you decide to go for a national government? Sorry for interrupting you, John. Why didn't you go with the Greens then, saying a national government, if it's that precarious? Because some callers are ringing into saying it's a disgrace listening to this crap from Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. People are dying, families are mourning their loved ones. We need a stable government. Why don't you go for a national government?
We need a stable government. What we need, though, is a government that is workable and have compatibility with one another's policies over the next 4 to 5 years. We need a stable government. And I think that may not, it's been reckoned that it would be futile to have a national government. You may have too many views. What they are trying to do, what Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and possibly the Green Party will do now, is to come up with a draft, with a programme that they can work together for the next 4 or 5 years to see what best way we can get out of the crisis we're in at the moment. Something we didn't expect.
Yes, we understand.
Prior to the general election.
And one final thing, gentlemen. Fianna Fáil, somebody has texted, says has 350 members in Waterford. Would that be around right?
About 460 as far as I'm aware at the moment, Damien.
Right, and will you be campaigning vociferously against the Seamus O'Neill wing of Fianna Fáil?
No, people. The facts will be laid out. The programme will be drawn up. People will be informed of every aspect of the proposal, and the people then will make the final decisions themselves. The paid-up members of Fianna Fáil.
And will anybody end up in fireplaces?
Well, I don't know. Look,
we don't have
Jim Could I just give him one bit of recognition? He's a great man, but he's the man actually who's proposed me for this position. Only for Jim O'Neill, I wouldn't be here battling this morning.
I know that, yeah. Listen, there's so many people want to get in. John O'Leary, thank you. Adam Wise, thank you very much.
Amen.
Thank you very much. We'll talk to you again soon. I know Jason Murphy, councillor, wanted to come in as well. We can't take you now, Jason. We'll maybe look at this again tomorrow because it really has exercised the minds of people. Graham Monaghan, a Fianna Fáil member from Sligo, delighted to hear Jim O'Neill speaking up for the real grassroots of the party. Other people saying Micheál Martin will do anything to get into government. Other people saying the closer Fianna Fáil and sooner they get together into one party, the sooner we'll have a credible opposition. Stay with us. 083 333 975. Now, keep your texts and comments coming in. Great debate, Damien. Bad leadership, full stop, says this texter. Martin's time is up. Regarding Donegal councillors, they voted unanimously not for coalition, says the texter. Micheál Martin did not ring all the councillors. That's a fact. Well said, Seamus. Micheál Martin support is hemorrhaging the party. Damien says, Fianna Fáil has to go into government. We have to be part of the way to rebuild the country. John said it's up to the party with the most seats to form the government. That should be Sinn Féin. And Sinn Féin are delighted with what's happening because we have a text in from David in Bunman as chairperson of Waterford Sinn Féin Corla Counter. I'd like to congratulate Seamus O'Neill for standing up to shadowy figures in his party leadership and commiserate for the poor treatment his party comrades receive both here in Waterford and nationally. Please let it be known we'd be happy for him and any of them to join our ranks. Oh, they're getting very excited on this. For Deise today, with regard to Fianna Fáil going into government with Fine Gael and the Greens, can any of those gentlemen say that Fianna Fáil will look after Waterford in the new cabinet? It is going to be too Cork-centred, says another texter. Damien, the pension age is scrapped. No move to 67, says Fianna Fáil, Micheál Martin and the Irish Independent. Is this still going ahead? Another texter, he has my vote. I believe everything he has to say. Best of respect to him, says this texter in terms of voting for, I think it is for Fianna Fáil. Yes, I can take Ger now. Is Ger on the line? Good morning, Ger.
Good morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Ger. I really appreciate you talking to us. You're over across the water in Wellington Bridge, and thank you so much for talking to us. Ger Cruz, cost cutter petrol forecourt. The prices at the minute, unleaded petrol is what, 115?
115 with ourselves, yeah.
Okay, and what's diesel?
105.
105. We have prices only over the water in Waterford and in different parts of the country, and people are texting in. I put up a Facebook post last night. They're texting from Carlow, from Kilkenny, from all over and down West Waterford. Higher prices. Why are you so cheap and others are 10 cent, maybe even 16, 17 cent more than you?
Yeah, well, I suppose what you have to look at really is what the price is made up of, you know. So obviously people have seen in the news that crude oil has taken a bit of a hit the last couple of months there due to COVID-19 outbreak. Massive decrease in demand. Aviation is half what it used to be or less. So obviously there's a big supply and demand is back. So that has driven down the price of crude oil to record lows. It's around $30 a barrel at the moment. And on the other side of that then, you have what goes to the government in tax, excise and carbon tax. So you're talking about 120 there is your average price of a litre of petrol today. So 80 cents of that is actually gone to the government before anyone else takes a bit of margin out of it, you know. So when looking at prices, you kind of have to bear that in mind. Now, it varies from site to site. Your listeners were texting in there with 120 and 122 and 123. It varies greatly because some sites are locked in with the oil company, you know, and they have agreement in place on their prices. So the actual dealer themselves, or the forecourt operator, wouldn't have as much leeway with the price as what you might think, you know.
Yeah, how long are normally you locked in for? Are you talking about a month or two, or what do you do?
No, like there's contracts in place. It could be, you're talking years rather than months, you know.
Years, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, some forecourts operate where they're buying on, you know, there could be a fortnightly price that they're agreed to, or maybe a monthly price. So if there's a sharp increase or a sharp decrease, they might not be in a position to pass on those savings to their customers straight away, you know. Yeah,
and what's the advice then? Like, how long do you do your deals with? Are you very...
Well, you see, we're an independent site here, so we can play the market, if you like, and we'll try and get the best price out there, and then we can pass that on to our customers, you know.
Okay, so
that's why you're talking about being that little bit cheaper.
Okay, and that's worked for you over the years. You find that that's the best way of doing it, does it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd imagine, Ger, that the bigger dealers, let's say the Apple Greens, they would have maybe more purchasing power with some of the suppliers, and Tesco's, for example, or whatever, they could get better deals. But what you're saying effectively is no, you're better off to stay small, and basically you can get your better deals that way.
Well, as an independent...
It depends
on the volume you're putting through. Like the site we have here is particularly busy, so we obviously are able to negotiate a decent price, and we can pass it on, you know. But some of the sites, like say, if you have stock in the ground, if you have wet stock in the ground from a fortnight or a month ago, you're not going to be able to sell it at today's price, you know. So there's a bit of a time lag there in what you'll see at the pump and what people are actually talking about on a day-to-day price.
So what advice would you have for consumers? Obviously, in certain areas, whether it's Wellington Bridge or Campile, and some people texting from Dundalk, for example, diesel is only 99 cent in Dundalk. Another person texting from Carlow. The advice is obviously to shop around a little bit.
Absolutely, shop around. You know, be aware of where you're pulling in and what price is on the pump. Definitely from one end of a town to another, you could see maybe 8-10 cent of a difference in price. You put that out over a fill in the car, you're maybe talking about €6, €8, €10, and put that out over a month or a year, and there's your savings for you, you know.
Yeah, because there can be quite a lot of savings. Do you find some people, Ger, don't really look at the price on the pump? There are some that will, and that'll be obsessive about it, but there are some that don't really care.
Yeah, there's some people out there that just, maybe out of habit or convenience, it's the closest to their house or to their work, and that's where they go and that's where they fill up, and they're not concerned about the price. But you know, there's definitely a percentage of people out there that have a keen eye and keep an eye on things as well, you know.
Yeah, listen, we can't encourage anybody to go to Wellington Bridge at present from Waterford. I know there's a lot of people in South Wexford listen to the programme, but Ger, it's a pleasure talking to you, and
no problem, Damien.
Mind yourself and all your staff there, okay?
Okay, take care, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Ger Cruz there, who owns Cost Cutter Petrol Forecourt in Wellington Bridge. We've been looking to get a few Waterford forecourt dealers on and sellers, but they haven't come on at the minute. James in Applegreen in Clonmel, was in Applegreen Clonmel. He paid nearly $1.19 for his diesel, but he said they make up the difference when you go inside the shop and pay for the likes of $1.40 for a can of Coke. Yeah, there is a lot of extras, I suppose, that the retailers would look at trying getting from people that go in. Other people texting $1.10 in Cappoquin for diesel, $1.13 in Tallow for diesel, Circle K in Dungarvan, $1.20 last week. Farrell's in Tremor, says a texter, can be cheaper than lots of other places, and a lot of people texting in about their different prices. Keep the texts and comments coming in, 083 333 975. Now, between Fianna Fáil and between oil and diesel prices, people are very exercised. Micheál Martin would sell his soul to get into government. Did you hear Leo on the Late Late Show, says this texter, saying Fianna Fáil would be the last resort to join up. Damien, the Donegal letter published last week says it all. Well done to Seamus O'Neill. Adam is young and has a future with Fianna Fáil. Save your Fianna Fáil identity, says this texter. Get off the fence. Another person saying Micheál Martin will do anything to get into government with Fine Gael. Una says Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have done nothing, only ruined this country and run it to the ground. Another texter, I'm 73, a member of the Fianna Fáil party. I voted Fianna Fáil all my life. If they don't go into government, I'll never vote for them again. We need a government, especially now. Like everyone else, we will have to change. What about Eddie Mulligan and Jason Murphy? What's their views about this? Says this texter, we're going to have them and talk to them tomorrow. Another texter saying, delighted to hear Seamus on the show. He's absolutely correct, and many members, grassroots members, share his views. Totally agree with the national government. It gives everybody a democratic input in troubled times. Regarding politics, I'm so tired of hearing people talk about the past. Seamus is wrong about this. There should be change. Another texter saying, what about political differences aside? Don't expect a pay rise. They shouldn't get any sort of a pay rise. Paul says a Micheál Martin-led government would be bad for Waterford. It will be totally Cork-centred. A paid-up member of Fianna Fáil says, I dispute that 80% of Fianna Fáil members in Waterford would support Micheál Martin. That is not true. The majority of the electorate do not want Martin or Varadkar as leaders of the country. This was clearly pointed out in the general election, says this other texter. Damien, what about UHW? It says in the Irish Mirror that they're treating 60 people for the virus. Is that true? No, it's not true. I was talking to Sinead in our news team earlier, and what happened was an incorrect email came out from the government last night saying I think it was 61 members in Waterford. It should have only been 11. And Sinead rightly held off on that and checked it out and got the full clarification. But the Mirror, on this particular instance, I understand, didn't check that out. So that is mentioned there. So listen, keep your texts and comments coming in. 083 3333 975. A lot of people texting in about the different oil prices that are around at present.